welcome back. I'm Amy Sweezy. TESOL 2022 Day 1 is underway. We have had so many exciting sessions and breakouts and exhibits and awesome interviews from right here all throughout the day. My next guest is Helaine Marshall, and Helaine is at Long Island University, the Hudson campus. Thank you for being here. Helaine has a very important thing that she is doing on Friday, and that is giving your first keynote address at TESOL. Tell us about what you'll be talking about, and not giving away everything, but just a little highlight of what everyone's going to hear on Friday.
Okay, so my theme is going to be creating fertile spaces. And it might sound simple, but what I'm going to go into is each word in that phrase. Why create? What do we mean by that? And what about spaces? What kind of spaces are we going to look at for our students? And most importantly, I'm going to talk about what we can do to make those spaces fertile. And the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to highlight some successful educators who have created fertile spaces in very different contexts globally.
Okay. So global collaboration,
yes.
That's the big thing, the big topic,
right.
Especially in our digital age. You know, the pandemic really forced everybody that wasn't in the digital age to be in there. What are some of the lessons that you have learned from collaborating and working with your colleagues?
Well, I suppose the first, because I always focus on culture in my work, is that you are going to bump up against different cultures when you're collaborating globally. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's important to realize no matter how much training you've had, no matter how much experience you've had with other cultures, there are going to be little speed bumps along the way. Mm-hmm. For example, I found out I'm very linear. I like to plan. But when I was working with folks in Morocco, they had a very different idea of how to navigate our global collaboration. It was more wavy, but we worked it out, and I think that's an important lesson that I learned from doing that, because it turned out we started a very successful international film club for kids, and I'll be talking about that on Friday.
Okay.
Another lesson that I've learned is that there's no substitute for synchronous communication. Right now, we're live. I'm meeting you, Amy, and we're talking. And we could send a million emails to each other, but this is precious. And I think that the digital age enables us to have synchronous communication. And the people that I worked with, particularly Japan, was challenging because of the time zone difference, but we made it work. And it's very important when you're collaborating globally to inject some synchronous elements so that people get a chance to really be together and get that vibe that you only get that way. And then the third lesson, there were many, I'll just choose three,
okay,
is that people's priorities are different. And when you collaborate, you don't have to have the same priorities. So again, going back to the collaboration with Morocco, the students there were learning English. The students in Virginia, I'm going to talk about them, they know English. They were not language students. They were in courses in theater and speech, leadership courses. Their goals were very different in the International Film Club. That's okay. They don't have to have the same priorities starting out, and they still can have a wonderful global collaboration.
I know in your keynote Friday you're going to share about some of the teachers. You mentioned that already. Can you give us a couple of examples of some of the teachers we're going to hear about?
Yes, well, one person I'd like to highlight I'm very proud of. Her name is Chizuko Konishi Walastad, and she actually is a former student of mine. And when she came to the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, where I used to teach, she was a intermediate level, and she was taking 6 hours a week with me of English. Well, long story short, she went on to earn her master's and her doctorate, went into language education herself.
Wow.
And we kept up over all these years because this was back in the 90s. And now she works for an organization that, again, I will be talking about called COIL, collaborative online international learning, and she is a liaison who matches universities globally, and she's done an amazing job, and I'll save the rest for Friday. The other person I'd like to mention is someone right inside of TESOL, and he's kind of an unsung hero of TESOL. His name is Vance Stevens, and he started an organization within TESOL called Webheads in Action. And it sounds a little funny, but what we are is we're folks who are really invested in instructional technology, and he started it back in 1998. So you can imagine how technology has changed, but he's kept pace with all the changes to the point that what you mentioned, the pandemic earlier, he launched something called Tallinn, Teaching and Learning in Isolation, to help us to get together with ideas and resources of how to pivot to online learning. I would encourage everyone to become a webhead.
Well, and I don't want you to give too much away on Friday, because obviously we want to encourage everyone who can get there to be there in person. But can you just give us a little teaser, a little taste of, how does somebody begin to create a fertile space?
All right. So the easiest way is that there are already organizations, global organizations, that do this, and they run projects, and you can join with them. I'll just give you one example. Well, I mentioned COIL. That's actually an organization, so you can link up with them, and then you'll hit the ground running right away. That's for universities. If you are teaching in the K-12 area, there's a wonderful organization called iEarn. It's International Education and Resource Network, and 140 countries are members of that organization. And so it opens up wonderful possibilities, and they already have projects. So you can either start your own, if you like, or you can connect with people that are already doing projects, okay? The other suggestion in terms of getting started is that this is a process. And when you create, as in any other field, it's going to take time. And so I have a formula. And it's not a spoiler because it's actually in the abstract, in the program. But it's you have to have patience, persistence, reflection, and renewal. And if you go through those 4 stages, then your creation will be something you can be proud of. So those are a couple of suggestions.
So people who are here in person at TESOL 2022, when do they see you on Friday?
At 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Okay, so you heard it here. And online as well, right?
Yes, the virtual audience will be included. You'll be popping things in the chat.
Yes, so make sure if you're at home that you are joining the keynote as well. All right, Helaine Marshall, thank you so much. Have a fantastic convention, and good luck with the keynote on Friday.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks.